Iran today stands on the edge of a crisis that is bigger, deeper, and more destructive than any political conflict, any economic breakdown, or any military confrontation the country has ever faced. This is a crisis that doesn't explode with bombs, doesn't march with soldiers, and doesn't negotiate at diplomatic tables. This crisis is silent, slow, and deadly. It is the crisis of water. A nation that was once home to ancient aqueducts, genius irrigation systems, and some of the most advanced water engineering in the old world is now struggling for every drop. Iran faces a future that experts describe as unlivable, where rivers die, lakes turn to salt fields, and cities slowly become ghost towns. This is not a distant threat. This is happening now. For years, Iranian scientists warned that the country was heading toward a point of no return, but their warnings went ignored or silenced. Today, the consequences are visible everywhere. Take Lake Urmia, once the Middle East's largest saltwater lake. A magnificent natural wonder that drew tourists, birds, life, and economic activity. Now, it has shrunk to less than 10% of its original size. Where blue waters once glimmered under the sun, there is now cracked earth, salt storms, and abandoned boats stuck in dry mud. These salt storms travel for miles, damaging crops, causing respiratory illnesses, and turning entire regions into hostile environments. Iran's water doom is not a fear. It is already reshaping the landscape. Move south, and you find the Zayende River in Isfahan, a lifeline for thousands of farmers. Today, most stretches of it are dry. Farmers protest, villagers migrate, and the old bridges that stood over flowing water now hang over barren land. Iran's water shortage has destroyed agriculture in many regions, forcing people who lived off farming for generations to leave their homes behind. Migration is rising, internal displacement is increasing, entire rural communities are collapsing. And with every lost farmer, Iran loses not just food production, but tradition, identity, and stability. Experts say Iran is now losing around 4 billion cubic meters of groundwater every year. This means the country is literally draining its underground life support system. Wells that once reached water at 20 or 30 meters now go down to 200 meters or more and still come up dry. Iran built tens of thousands of unauthorized wells over decades, and now many of them are sucking up nothing but air and dust. Groundwater depletion is like breaking into a bank account that took millions of years to fill, and once it's gone, there is no easy way back. Climate change is making everything worse. Iran is heating faster than the global average. Rainfall is decreasing. Summers are getting longer and hotter. The frequency of droughts has nearly doubled in just 2 decades. Combined with poor water management, corrupt planning, and overuse of resources for industrial and political purposes, the perfect storm is forming. Scientists now estimate that up to 70% of Iran's population could face severe water stress within the next decade. Some cities are already struggling to supply clean drinking water for daily needs. In Khuzestan, people take to the streets demanding water. Imagine that protests not for jobs, not for democracy, not for political change, but for water. Videos show children holding empty jugs. Livestock collapsing from dehydration, rivers reduced to sewage channels. Temperatures reach 50 degrees C as taps run dry. When water itself becomes a luxury, stability collapses. Governments historically fall when water disappears. Civilizations have vanished because of it, and Iran sits on that same dangerous fault line. But how did a civilization with thousands of years of water wisdom end up here? The story goes back decades. During the last century, Iran expanded agriculture aggressively, focusing on water, intensive crops like rice, sugarcane, and pistachios, products that bring big money but require enormous water. Pistachios alone consume so much water that entire provinces have been drained to support the industry. Then came the dam boom. Iran built more than 600 dams, many of them without proper environmental studies. These dams blocked natural water flow, destroyed wetlands, and caused entire ecosystems to collapse. Lakes shrank, rivers disappeared, wildlife died, and humans paid the price. Add to this the politics of water distribution. Provinces competed for resources. Some regions received more water than others because of political pressure, not scientific planning. This created tensions between communities and sparked local conflicts over access to water. In many villages, people guard wells with weapons because scarcity has turned water into a trigger for violence. Iran's internal security forces now monitor water protests as closely as any political demonstration. What makes the situation even more alarming is that the government struggles to admit the scale of the crisis. Environmental activists are arrested, journalists who report the danger are censored, scientists who speak too openly about water depletion face pressure. The result, a nation walking blindly into catastrophe. Without transparency, solutions become nearly impossible. Without accountability, old mistakes keep repeating. The economic impact is massive. Agriculture employs millions of Iranians. As water disappears, farms shut down, families lose income, migration increases, cities grow overcrowded. And food imports rise, making Iran more dependent on foreign suppliers at a time when sanctions already choke the economy. Energy production is affected too. Hydropower plants produce less electricity as reservoirs shrink, leading to blackouts and instability. Businesses suffer, households suffer, hospitals suffer, everything collapses when water collapses, and then there is the environmental destruction. Wetlands like Hamon and Anzali are dying, forests are shrinking, wildlife species are disappearing. Dust storms hit cities more frequently, carrying toxic particles that damage lungs and cause long-term health issues. Climate refugees, people forced to move because their homes become uninhabitable, are becoming a new reality in Iran. Villages in Sistan and Balochistan are already emptying out. Entire districts risk vanishing within years. Yet despite all this, there is still a narrow window of hope, but only if drastic action is taken immediately. Experts recommend that Iran must shift away from water-heavy crops, invest in modern irrigation, stop illegal wells, restore natural ecosystems, and develop national programs to recycle and save water, but these solutions require stable governance, transparency, scientific freedom, and long-term planning, not short-term political gain. Countries like Israel, Australia, and Singapore transformed their water crisis through strategy and innovation. Iran can too, but only if it listens to science over politics. The truth is simple: Iran does not have decades left to act. It has years, maybe even less in some regions. The worst-case scenario is terrifying. Large parts of Iran could become uninhabitable. Millions might be forced to migrate to other regions or even other countries. Water scarcity could ignite civil unrest, economic collapse, and widespread displacement. And once water is gone, no military, no political force, no amount of money can bring it back quickly. Right now, Iranian families fill containers and store water whenever they can. Farmers watch their fields dry. Parents worry about the future their children will inherit, and scientists warn that the crisis is accelerating faster than predicted. Iran's water doom is not a single event, it is a chain reaction. Every dry lake leads to more dust storms. Every lost river kills thousands of livelihoods. Every failed crop weakens the economy. Every migration wave stresses cities. Every year of inaction brings the nation closer to irreversible collapse, but awareness is the first spark of change. Talking about this crisis matters. Understanding its scale matters. Sharing this message matters. Because Iran's water doom is not just Iran's problem. It is a lesson to the world about what happens when environment, climate, politics, and mismanagement collide. The water crisis is the greatest threat humanity faces globally, and Iran is the warning siren. If the world does not learn from it, other nations may face the same fate. In the end, this crisis is about survival, not ideology, not borders, not power. Just survival. Water is life. Without it, nothing else matters. Iran stands at a crossroads. Rebuild its relationship with water, or watch its civilization crumble under the weight of thirst. The choice must be made now. The time to act is almost over. And if the nation fails to respond, history will remember this moment as the point where a great civilization faced its worst doom, not by war, but by water.